What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is your weekly reactor hunt video. I do one of these every week for the First Descendant because every Tuesday they change where certain configurations of reactors can drop in the open world by doing missions and outposts and stuff there. So I try to point you in the direction of the most lucrative activities that you can do that yield you the highest amount of reactors per week. Now a quick thing I want to mention that's been coming up in comments is that basically, we have massive changes to the reactor imprinting situation coming again with the start of season 2, and a lot of players feel that there's really no need to actually be farming, or let's rather say that it's a waste to be farming reactors right now since we have this big change coming. And to a degree I agree with that, but at the same time it's not to say that you can still find a based in slot reactor right now. And let's be honest, if you are playing the First Descendant right now, there's not a lot else to do per se as we wait for the new Descendants, the new Ultimate Descendant, the new activities, and pretty much everything that's coming with season 2. So you might as well be productive. Now, how do I compile this information? First of all, we have a list like this, which is all of the Descendants in the game, and with what is known to be their best in slot reactor configurations. Now we can change that list into something like this, and this basically then shows that certain Descendants use the same configuration of reactor, which means that, for example, if you're farming for Esiemo, you are also farming for Lepic, which is awesome. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the in-game system, which is basically you pressing M and then F, so map, and then you go to difficulty level rewards if you're on console. And this is an in-game system that allows you to search by the skill type and by the archetype, and then find out if your reactor is available this week. So like, for example, if you were looking for something for Freyna, you would go toxic and you would go tech, and you'd be like, ah, shit, there's a whole bunch of stuff here I can farm. Cool. This video covers the 26th until the 3rd of December. And we're going to start off with Esiemo and Lepic. We have which is fire and tech, which is like this reactor up here, a burning mechanics reactor. And if you're looking for a general mounting, so that's pretty much stuff like Enduring Legacy, Python, Thunder Cage, and so on. So some of the best weapons in the game are general mounting guns, and you might be looking for something like that for Esiemo or for Lepic. And if you are in luck this week, because if we go over here and we do exactly what I told you just now, fire and tech, we're going to see two different areas. We're going to see Mirage Stone. This is the general mounting area, as you can see. And specifically in Mirage Stone, we have this outpost right here. Now you can do this outpost with something that I refer to as the Valby method, or I guess we as a community refer to it as the Valby method. And this essentially revolves around you using Valby. This works with Bunny as well, by the way, if you configure her third ability to not have too much range. But essentially you use Valby to farm this outpost by killing all the enemies that spawn inside and moving in a circle around, basically leaving your water AoE behind and not killing the boss. Now coincidentally, I actually released a video specifically on this build yesterday on the channel. So if you're looking to put this together, just go one day back as from the making of this video, or rather the publishing of this video, and you'll see the build that I'm talking about. But it's the Valby outpost build, and it works really well. Hopefully you can get a whole bunch of reactors. Next up we have Blair. Blair's reactor of choice is Burning Phase, which is fire and dimension, because his skills that deal damage are all dimension skills. Now if you are looking for an impact mounting for Blair this week, you're in luck. Impact weapons are, for example, like Wave of Light, Peacemaker, Frost Watcher, Perforator. But more importantly, we also have Nezastras. Nezastras is a fantastic debuff weapon, which basically allows you to deal more damage against bosses when you debuff them with Nezastras. And it couples really well with Descendants that deal skill damage, because you can essentially debuff your targets and then hit them with massive skills. So if you're looking for this particular mounting this week, we're going to go over here. We're going to put in fire, we're going to put in dimension, and we're going to see Grand Square. Grand Square is in Kingston, the very first map of the game. And you're looking for this mission over here, Kingston Surveillance Radar. Short little mission, two areas connected to one another. You have a bunch of spawns right on top of each other. You can very much clean this up super fast with someone like Bunny. And you can just repeat farm this, and hopefully you get a decent amount of reactors spat out by this mission. Next up, we've got Ajax, Kyle, and Luna. All three of them use materialized mechanics reactors. This, by the way, is the Luna variant that buffs, so not the damage dealing Luna, the AoE Luna, but rather the buffing Luna. So if you're interested in an Ajax, Kyle, and Luna non-attribute tech reactor in a general mountings capacity this week, I got you covered. Again, general mounting, some of the best weapons in the game, Enduring Legacy, Python, Thunder Cage, and so on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, we're going to say non-attribute, we're going to go ahead and choose tech, and we're going to have two areas here for us. We're going to pick the classified area. So the classified area is over here in Sterile Land, and we have a mission here called Large Nuclear Reactor. I almost said Large Nuclear. Large nuclear reactors. So basically this is a very straightforward mission. Once again, Bunny, anything that deals AoE works really well here. Bunny's good, you know, Freyna is good, Valby's good, and you have this middle area that you have to control. Even if you don't have AoE characters, you can basically use, you know, weapons like Kingsguard Lance to also create AoE pockets and so on. But basically you just control this middle area. The enemy spawns from 3 different directions and comes running at you. Most of them are melee enemies, so they're going to come right up to you and come into your AoE and die, which means you don't have to work too hard to kill them. And you just rinse repeat this mission. It has a 10 minutes or less time mentioned here, but you'll complete it in a far faster rotation, especially if you are geared decent and you basically one tap all the enemies, which at this point in the game everybody should be able to do. And you can just kind of farm this area out and just pick up as many reactors as possible. Next up, if you're looking for reactors for Enzo, Yujin, and Luna, there are 2 really good options this week. Now this is specifically for DPS Luna and DPS Yujin, since what we're talking about here is materialized singularity, which is non-attribute singular. So if you are playing Yujin and you want to use proliferating allergy, this one over here, this changes all of, well, it changes his damage dealing skill, the one that you want to be using with this build, which is proliferating allergy over here, the second skill, into a singular skill. So you need a different reactor from the normal Yujin reactor, which is fusion. So same thing is true for Luna. Luna has noise surge, which also changes her normal abilities into AoE damage dealing abilities, and those actually use singular. So if you look like I said, if you want Enzo, which uses this by default, all right, for his damage dealing abilities, and you want Yujin and you want Luna, then this week there are 2 options for you. If you are looking for general rounds, so, you know, Enduring Legacy and the Thunder Cage, Python, and so on, first of all, we'll go here to non-attribute and we'll choose singular. We have an option in the converter facility here, which is in Fortress. You have an outpost over here, which you can also do with what is known as the Valby method. So you basically farm the outpost, kill all the enemies inside while leaving the boss alone. Leaves you with about 2 minutes and 36 seconds of looting from these enemies, and if you can one tap and kill them fast, you get a massive amount of reactors that can drop from this activity, and hopefully you can farm out something good. Now, sticking with this character, or these 3, which is Enzo, Yujin, Luna, if you're looking for a special mounting, there's also a farm for that this week. Special is really good. It's some of the more powerful weapons in the game. Like, for example, we have some good, you know, Secret Garden, for example. Kingsguard Lance is really fantastic for us as well. Clairvoyance, not so much. But yeah, definitely Greg's Reverse Fate and Secret Garden are 2 fan favorites. A lot of people like those weapons for the right reasons. They are fantastic, so they are good. So we're going back again to our farm, and we're gonna say the same thing we had before, non-attribute singular. And you'll notice that special rounds is the abandoned zone. The abandoned zone is an echo swamp, and it has a mission that's very famous from the beginning of the game, called environment contamination zone. To this day, it is a fantastic mission to just farm in general if you're looking to pick up a huge amount of reactors and just other things that drop from these enemies, you know, other gear, loot, weapons, things like that. It has a high turnaround time with some decent yellow bars that you can kill. Breakers often drop here as well. But the main point is it's decent XP, weapon proficiency, Kuiper, gold, all that stuff. And the enemies just fucking absolutely shit out reactors. So definitely do this if you're looking for a special mounting for Enzo, Yujin, and Luna, the DPS versions of those 2, by the way. And then the last 3 farms are actually all gonna be Sharen. It's almost as if they know that Ultimate Sharen is coming, but we have a fantastic week here for Sharen for a multitude of different weapon mountings depending on what you're looking for. Now, first things first, Sharen uses Tingling Mixture, which is electric fusion, and that is her skill-based reactor. Now, this is what we have as her skilled reactor at the moment right now, and we can easily see why, because of course her first ability, Cutoff Beam, is an electric fusion, and her last ability, Void Domination, is also an electric fusion, and those are her two damage dealing abilities at the moment. Now, it's possible that when Ultimate Sharen rather comes out, that this will change, and it's possible that her best in slot reactor might also change to something like electric singular or so on, like we sometimes see whenever a character has a ultimate or rather a transcendent mod for their ultimate that pretty much changes their profile in a profound way. Generally speaking, when you are playing Sharen, and if you're playing buff Sharen or snipe Sharen, you don't really care so much about the reactor because you're not really depending on your skills to do damage. But if you want to build a skill-based Sharen at this point in time, it seems like you need an electric fusion. Now, for this, there are three really good options this week, depending on whether you're looking for impact, high power, or general. So we'll do impact first. Impact is, as mentioned, a fantastic category because you have access to Nerzestra's. So if you're looking to play her in her debuff capacity, this is a good option to have because you can make your debuff even stronger by debuffing them with Nerzestra's and your skills. And in that case, there is a very, very decent farm for that this week. If we go to electric and we go to fusion, you are going to see this Vermilion Waste. This is this area over here in the Agna Desert. There's an outpost here that, you guessed it, you can do with Valby in the Valby method, and this allows you to farm out a whole bunch of reactors plus XP, weapon proficiency, Kuiper, and gold. So hopefully you get lucky and you get some decent reactors there. Then if you're looking for snipe Sharen and you want to have a sniper mounting, meaning high power, which is where piercing and afterglow is, then you also have an option here in Rockfall. Rockfall is another one of these, let's say, relatively super famous areas in the games because it features a mission called Anticipated Ambush Point, which is very easily done with Bunny or any AoE character. It's a small little area that you can control with AoE. You knock out all the enemies, there's a yellow bar at the end, you kill them, and you rinse repeat. Super fast turnaround time, and you can usually get a whole bunch of reactors to fall out here as well. And then last but not least, you might be looking for a general mounting, right? And in that case, for Sharen, you also have a good option this week. So defense line is over here, and this actually features an outpost, which is the OG Valby method outpost. So this was where the Valby method was discovered. So this is a fairly large-ish outpost, and you can sort of ride the outside as we've been doing with the others, and you will hopefully get a massive amount of reactors to drop. I do also want to temper your expectations though, because this outpost was fucking gutted because of the fact that people were doing the Valby method there. So it is not as good as the other ones that I showed you. It's still decent enough that you will get a fair amount of reactors. I got a very, very good reactor literally 20 minutes before recording this video, which is fantastic. Super happy with that. But of course, it's not a promise that I can make you. I got lucky. But the point is that you can do this area here. As mentioned though, if you are expecting similar levels of drops that we saw before with the Valby method here, unfortunately, you're shit out of luck because it ain't that good anymore. And that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you're farming this week, what you're doing to get yourself ready for season 2. I'm sure some people are taking a break, which is actually probably not a bad idea, especially if you've been burnt out a little bit by repeating the same thing as season 1. Take a little bit of time off and come back fresh for season 2. But as always, fucking cheers.